Data Australasia, guided by lived experience, led by you.
Hi everyone, it's Elise Lonsdale and thanks for joining me again. Living dangerously. Why have I called this video that? Well, we'll find out soon. Today, as you can see, I'm still wearing my Wandin Toastmasters badge because I had the privilege and much honour to chair the humorous speech and table topics contest. In actual fact, it was just the table topics part that I chaired. It was our contest for Wandin Toastmasters. Now, for those who don't know, table topics is the section of Toastmasters which is the impromptu speaking. So we give the respondent a question and they've got to think on their feet for 60 seconds to 2 minutes. So 1 to 2 minutes. And if they go any more than 2.5 minutes, they're disqualified. The question I posed today was, if you could instantly master any skill in the world, what would it be and why? If you could instantly master any skill in the world, what would it be and why? We had 4 contestants and they did extremely well, with Annie Martin going through to the area contest sometime next month. So congratulations to Annie. Why is it dangerous going to a Toastmasters meeting? Well, for most people it isn't, for regular people, but I'm not regular, I'm me. And I spent last night updating all my Apple devices that are operational and can handle it to Mac OS 26 and iOS 26. And I am using the continuity camera from the iPhone 16 Pro Max into the Apple Mac, sitting here in the living room with the shotgun mic out of frame so that it's pointing right at me and lessens the room ambience. I did a proof of concept video last night. When you are called upon to do a job, it's probably not the wisest idea to run beta software because I've found a number of VoiceOver bugs. Being vision impaired means that I'm reliant on VoiceOver, and there are still a plethora of bugs on the Mac. iOS on these devices, the iPhone, is great. So a friend of mine last night in New South Wales updated their devices, so I thought, well, let's keep up with the Joneses. So I'm now on the beta test program once again. Fortunately, I tested the equipment before the meeting and proved last night that I was going to get away with it. But I would not recommend it for the uninitiated. So I didn't have time to go chasing down the other end of the room to keep checking this thing. It worked, and I have to be honest, it worked well. I have now seen for several years VoiceOver being really good on the iPhone, which triggers this next response. Oh, if the iPhones are so accessible, I'd like to try a Mac. Sure thing, it's a logical progression from iOS over here to maybe an iPad in the middle and then graduating to an Apple Mac computer. But sadly, and very, very sadly, in the last 18 months or so, we've seen around 4 people go back to Windows after persevering with the bugs with Mac OS on the Sonoma lock screen with VoiceOver. Bugs of not being able to change the speech volume, even though we've turned off the encryption, the 5 volt, because that stops you from changing the voice attributes on the login screen anyway. A lady recently, a very dear friend of mine in Sydney, had a machine where VoiceOver set itself to an Australian Siri voice that was broken. And even despite the fact that we've turned off the 5 volt on that machine, they still couldn't use the speech rotor to change the voice to something like Karen or even Alex or even Lee, just something that wasn't broken so that they could hear where they were when they navigated with the tab key or the VO keys around the lock screen to find the edit field to type their password in. Fortunately, most of the time the password field was focused, but these bugs are persistent, and it is time that I think Apple paid a lot of attention to how VoiceOver works on the Mac. I see it every day. When you're looking through files and folders in the Finder, VoiceOver just goes silent. And, considering the amount of good work they've done on these devices, your iPhones, why can't they put as much love into the VoiceOver that comes on the Mac as to what they've done on iOS and the iPads? I don't get it. So it is very, very sad. The latest bugs are, as of the time of recording this, let's hope that they don't stand, is that there's no VoiceOver on both my logon screens at the moment. And on one of my computers, being this particular M3 Mac, I could not use the Control Option Command Shift left and right and up and down arrow keys to use the speech rotor to change the speed of the voice. Karen came up quite slow, quite sluggish. Whereas on the Mac in the office, in that other room there, yeah, it all works fine. Now, on the M1, with the dual monitor display, I'm seeing it blacken areas of the screen, particularly the workable area. That's with VoiceOver on. It made the whole of Adobe Premiere go black. It's made several Finder windows go black. So I'd like to see, this is beta 5 of Mateo or Mahavo, or however you pronounce Mahio, or whatever they call this version. I'm just going to call it 26. So you can see I'm living dangerously, and I had to go into production, and I still need to make these videos. So that's my ramblings of a vision impaired access technologist who happens to be an accomplished Toastmaster over the last 24 hours, this being the second weekend of August 2025. Thanks for watching.
For fast, efficient access technology training and support, call Elise Lonsdale from Australia 0448 966 533. That's 0448 966 533. Or from New Zealand on 027 315 2858. That's 027 315 2858. Data Australasia. Guided by lived experience, led by you.